My name is James Chapman. I was born in 1819 in Hickling, Norfolk. I married Mary in 1839 and we relocated to Whitechapel, London, where I joined the police force shortly after. This is my story. A story of family, service and life in Victorian London. I was born on the 2nd of May, 1819, in Hickling, Norfolk. My dad, John, was born in 1782. He was an agricultural labourer, as was my older brother, Jeremiah. My mum, Anne, was born in 1783, and they were all born in Hickling. On the 27th of March, 1839, at the age of 20, I married Mary Martin, also 20, at St Mary's, Hickling.
I'd known James pretty much all my life. We grew up very close to each other in Hickling. I remember the wedding day. It was such a happy time. Both mine and James's parents attended, bless them. Such a long time ago, goodness me.
In December of that same year, our first child was born, a boy. After much thought, we decided to call him after me. So another James Chapman entered the world. By 1846, the economic climate in Norfolk was difficult and uncertain, particularly for agricultural labourers and their families. It was a period of transition, with traditional rural life coming under increasing pressure. It seemed like things were going from bad to worse.
Early in 1846, we decided to make a change to our lives. Our little family had grown into a big family, and James's income from working the fields was barely enough. So the Chapmans were London-bound.
I did some labouring work for a while. Then an opportunity arose that I could not turn down. Leman Street Police Station was a stone's throw from our lodgings in Mile End, Old Town. 40 years later, it would be the hub for the Jack the Ripper murders. So I applied to become a police constable. My application was successful, and before I knew it, I was patrolling the mean streets of Whitechapel and its surrounding areas. Now, you have to understand that this was a relatively new organisation, as modern policing in London was less than 20 years old. Officers became known as peelers or bobbies after the organisation's founder, Robert Peel. The force consisted of around 3,000 constables, and it was not universally popular, of that I can assure you. People accused the government of spying and bemoaned their loss of personal freedoms, and that resentment could be felt when carrying out our daily duties.
James' newfound status as a police constable and the regular income that it provided, we were able to leave our lodging house and secure a suitable home for a hard-working police constable and his family. Gloucester Place, and London in general, was such a change from our lives in Hickling that a little adjustment was very much required. By 1851, our lives were unrecognisable.
In the 1850s, Whitechapel was one of the most overcrowded and challenging districts in London. As a police constable, I saw it all. The docks and the local pubs could prove a dangerous combination, and you had to have your wits about you. But the wages were regular, and better than an agricultural labourer's wages.
In 1854, life was pretty good. James was now well established as a police constable. The children were settled and happy, and we had our own home in Gloucester Place, Mile End. Hickling seemed like another life. We weren't rich, but we weren't poor. James's weekly wage of 24 shillings every week allowed us to live a much better lifestyle than we had experienced in Hickling, and we were grateful. The future looked far more certain now, and we were glad that we had made the move to London.
By 1855, London was rapidly changing. Thousands of people were arriving from Ireland, rural England, Germany, and Europe. The docks and warehouses were expanding, bringing jobs but also increasing overcrowding. London's population had passed 2.8 million, putting huge pressure on housing, sanitation, and public services. Many Irish families who had fled the Great Famine settled in East London, often taking low-paid labouring jobs. Immigrants provided essential labour for docks, construction, factories, markets, and domestic service, and any growth without them would have been impossible.
"1856 started well enough. Newborn Walter was such a happy baby. He was lovely, and we all adored him. We now had 9 children. James, the oldest, was now 17.
The night shift Whitechapel was notoriously difficult and dangerous, and every shift was different to the one before. In 1857, public houses in England were already subject to licensing laws, but they were not as tightly regulated as they would be later in the Victorian era. Closing hours did exist, but they were generally later and more flexible than the 20th century hours you're familiar with. So we had aggressive drunks, burglars, thieves, and much worse to deal with. Thankfully, I made some good and reliable friends in the force, and that made it easier. We enjoyed a great sense of unity, and we all worked and socialized together.
Did I worry about James when he took the night shift? Of course. But the children kept me busy, and I would sleep when I was able. Life was incredibly busy, but it was great. Our house and the neighbours, it was all just perfect.
I left for work as usual. The stroll from Gloucester Place to Leman Street was a short one, and I liked to be early, so I left the house around 5:30. It was a February evening, and the sun was just setting. My night shift began at 6 and ended at 6 in the morning. It would be a long night, but I was used to that by now.
James left for his night shift as usual, and I thought no more of it. Walter was suffering from a nasty chill, and I was preoccupied with him.
Earlier that day, one Michael Hogan arrived in London. Irishman Hogan had arrived straight from prison. He'd been in service with the 66th Foot Brigade, with over 18 years of exemplary service on record. For whatever reason, he decided to have it on his toes, and was from that moment regarded as a deserter. He was easily captured and sentenced to 10 years on a penal colony. After 2 years, he was released and granted war gratuity due to his impeccable behaviour, both in service and in prison. He spent the evening, as most newly released prisoners do, in a pub. Abled and abetted by a couple of locals, Hogan was soon relieved of all his possessions, money and senses. At around 5 in the morning, I was called to Cable Street and soon became aware of a disturbance. What happened next would change the lives of myself and my family forever.
She asked me why. I just went on and told her. She asked me why. I just went on and told her. She asked me why. I just went on and told her. She asked me why. I just went on and told her. That Indian blow the whistle on the fireman, he rang the bell. That Indian blow the whistle on the fireman, he rang the bell. That Indian blow the whistle on the fireman, he rang the bell. That Indian blow the whistle on the fireman, he rang the bell. It's bad, you know. She asked me why. I just went on and told her. She asked me why. I just went on and told her.
Because of his long record of service, the judge was lenient. On the 7th of April 1856, Hogan was sentenced to just 9 months' imprisonment. It didn't seem a long time, considering.
Because we separate ripples on a blank
After his stay in hospital, James found life difficult. The job he loved was gone. He was in constant pain and was unable to do any physical work of any kind. During his time as a patrolling policeman, he had made many friends, and he was liked and respected by all. One of those friends saw how unhappy he was and gave him a job as an attendant at the Hackney carriage office just up the road. His duties were few and the pay was poor, but it got him out of the house, and associating with his friends and new colleagues was good for him. For a while things were okay, but after a few months, James's health began to decline. The doctors were clueless, and nothing appeared to improve his condition. I was so frightened. It was an awful time. My darling James passed away on the 23rd of August, 1857. I was lost. James's death certificate states diseased heart and acute bronchitis as actual cause of death. With the loss of James came the loss of our income. We had nothing. It was a terrible, terrible time. By 1861, myself and children George, 17, Louisa, 11, Benjamin, 9, Fred, 7, Walter, 5, and Frank, 3, had a place to live. Wellington Street, Mile End, Old Town. It wasn't very nice, but it was all I could afford on my wages as a seamstress. The rent was so high and our wages so little. Life was a real struggle. In 1865, I married Fred Gimber. Fred was 18 years younger than me. My oldest son, James, was actually older than Fred. We married on the 13th of November, 1865, at St. Anne's in Limehouse. Fred was a good man, a painter by trade. He was very hard-working and the children liked him. By 1881, Fred and I were living at 93 Sydney Street. Just the two of us now, and a few lodgers to help make ends meet. I remember the year well because it was the year that my and James' youngest, Frank, was married. He married Isabella Clark on February the 23rd on Bow Common. It was a lovely day. Frank was born just before his father, dear James, passed away. He never knew him. He knew all about him, make no mistake about that. His brothers and sisters would tell stories of their dearly departed dad, and Frank would listen intently. But on his special day, all I could think of was dear James, and how proud he would have been. Frank and Isabella would go on to produce 6 children, one of whom was Thomas, or Little Tom as I called him. Fred passed away in 1888. He was 44. I missed him terribly. It was a sad and lonely time. I lived the rest of my days in Arcadia Road. I passed away in 1899. I was 77. I had a long and varied life. My children were my world, and that period just before James passed was the best of my life. I think back to those days often. How different things would have been if James had just turned a different corner on that cold February night back in 1856. But there's no point dwelling. It was all so long ago, and gone in the blink of an eye.
A telegram or a picture postcard. Within we felt the reopening the shipyard and notifying the next of kin. Once again, it's always skilled in. We will be shipbuilding. With all the will in the world, diving for
So to any Chapmans out there, any of our descendants,
we could be diving for pearls.
thanks for taking the time to listen to our story.